On this episode of Anime Mythology, I will cover the 3 Judges of Hell from Saint Seiya in relation to the 3 kings who seem to be a mix of mythology and history, as well as going over references to not just the kings, but also the armor in which the judges represent, starting with King Minos. According to mythology, Minos is the demigod ruler of Crete and son of Zeus, who when he died, according to Homer and Dante, became a judge of the underworld. Minos is most famous for his great labyrinth, in which he trapped his child who was birthed as a minotaur for trying to deceive the great god Poseidon. Now, his duties in the underworld are to basically give the deciding vote to the other judges, such as Radamathias and Iacchos. In Saint Seiya, it is Griffin Minos. With no historical or mythological relation to King Minos, unfortunately, given he is only 23 years old in the late 80s or early 90s. He is, however, a judge of the underworld, as his role is to examine the history of the sins of the fallen dead as guardian of law of the underworld, and to fall into hell according to the weight of the sins of humans. Techniques. Cosmic Mariation is like an invisible thread. It's a technique to freely manipulate the body regardless of the attention of the other party. And in the Lost Canvas, he has Wings of Hell, where he generates a powerful gust of wind towards his enemy. Radamathias, brother of Minos, son of Zeus, exiled by his brother for possibly being a competitor to the throne. Luckily, he established a new kingdom where he became known for his fairness, honesty, and integrity, apparently making him perfect to be the judge of hell. He would judge the souls of men that died in the east. He's located in the Inferno part of Dante's Inferno. In Saint Seiya, he is known as Wyvern Radamanthus, judge of the underworld, or magnate, and great warrior of Hades' army, the Spectres, or also he is one of the 3 strongest known judges. His armor, the surplus, is of course inspired by the wyvern, who, unlike dragons, only have 2 legs. His techniques are greatest caution, basically creating a wide shockwave. Lost Canvas attack, he has Roar of the Wyvern, unleashes a wide roar hurting his enemies. And finally, Iacchos, a mythological king of the island of Aegina, son of Zeus and a random woman he slept with and left on the island. Now the island is named after one of Zeus's affairs, so Hera, of course, sent a plague to wipe them out. Perhaps feeling pity and remorseful, Zeus turned the unaffected ants of the island into people known as Myrmidons for him to rule over, which is very weird, but I guess better than nothing. His judgment was so great that people would come from all over to help solve their problems. So he, of course, would be the perfect judge for the underworld. He would of course judge Europe and be known as the gatekeeper to the underworld. Unfortunately, not much to really say about his counterpart Gerudo Iacchos, who shares the shortest time in the manga and killed off fairly quickly, but shares the same function as his counterpart, and armor is based off the bird or bird-like creature in Hindu Buddhist mythology, which somewhat makes sense given there is a Buddhist realm in the underworld in Saint Seiya, as mentioned in my last anime and mythology video. According to Wikipedia, Gerudo is described as the king of birds and kite-like figure. He is shown either in Zumeric from a giant bird with partially open wings, or an anthropomorphic form, man with wings and some bird features. Gerudo is generally a protector with power to swiftly go anywhere, ever watchful, and enemy of the serpent. Now there are changes depending on culture and mythology, but yeah, it's a giant humanoid birdman. Now his techniques, which he shockingly has more than any others. Garuda Flap, a one-shot deadly technique that flies the opponent to the sky where it disappears instantly, drops it in the specified place after 3 seconds, and hits it on the ground. Galactic Kai Illusion, a terrifying technique that creates a different dimensional space from both arms crossed and blows away the opponents by the pressure in space. In Lost Canvas he has Surrendora. He burns anyone nearby, even a fellow specter, and turns their souls into dark flames of rain down upon their enemies. Galactic Death. Garuda again sacrifices one of his servants to unleash an attack that shuts down the opponent's eternal nervous system. Okay, overall thoughts is clear as far as backstory. They are not those kings. They are only those kings in name only, but more or less have the same function in the underworld, or at least one of them does. Now, Minos can't really be compared in personality. In fact, none of the judges can, since they are all pretty cruel. And we never actually see them do any real judging. And though these things are not directly related to these characters, there is a great labyrinth in Saint Seiya used to trap gods, and the events of King Minos literally did take place, and a goat saint had to fight the actual King Minos, who fused with the Minotaur for power. Back to the judges. They all have the theme of a winged creature, so as far as design and armor origin goes, Minos' wings are the most feather-like. His techniques involve strings, which of course relates to how the king was able to free himself and find his way out of the maze. And his wing technique can relate both to the armor and character's origin. So while there is very little correlation to the two in terms of origin and personality, there is somewhat relation to him as a judge and the Griffin Beast. So I give Judge Minos a C+. If the real King Minos in the story was ever a judge, that would probably be an A-. Now, Radamanthus armor-wise very much looks like a wyvern, but sadly, aside from using flying abilities for attacking, there is not much correlation with the mythological counterpart, so I have to give him a C. Ayako's design-wise, he's fine. In terms of techniques, could not find any correlation besides the use of his wings, and as much as he likes to sacrifice, at least in the Lost Canvas, I really could not find anything about Garuda needing a sacrifice, so I have to give him a C. Well, that's it for another episode of Anime and Mythologies. If I made a mistake or forgot to mention something or pronounce something incorrectly, which of course I did, I'm no scholar, please tell me in the comments and pick whatever character you would like for me to cover next, no matter the series. For now, please remember to like, sub, and hit the bell.